always, especially with this current administration, you're not really sure about what China, what that next sort of leg is. It could be a very friendly relationship, or it could be bad. So, always taking profits after 50 period moving average, nothing wrong with that. But I do think that there is a runway here to get back to the 200, which is only 30 bucks. So you're not too far away from that. I would definitely think this is a sell area right around here to get an opportunity. But if you're taking this from low 30s to mid to high 30s, you've done pretty good there. So watch out for ringing the register here on China. And again, a little less volatile, right? It's not the cost here, anything. A little less volatile here with some of the Chinese names. I think you can get involved with BABA first, and then FXI if you wanted to get the whole bunch. But hey, there's only 3 minutes left. Like, we are definitely running short on time here. On the imbalances, nothing really too much of interest. NVIDIA with the slight buy, you're seeing a little bit of uptick there at NVIDIA. As we see that name, you see AMC with the buy, that's not doing anything. Alibaba and SpaceX, both with bids as well. So some of the names starting to get going here. Only 2 minutes. Let's quickly run through these stories and get ready for open market.
Mad Dash here to the bell. IRE and Focus, as we mentioned earlier here, guys. Raising it here and
yeah, $2.8 billion, working with leading AI developers. As Garrett mentioned, it's going to grow from $3.7 to $4 billion. They've got the who's who of names that are doing business with us. Most people we don't know, they don't tell us. But good luck to them.
Good morning as well here for AMC, Adam Aaron and Company, posting their best ever quarter year both revenue and adjusted EBITDA for Q2 2023.
A lot of caveats here. They're a very good report, but look, making much money in terms of movie sales. Everything is coming from food, beverages, and collectibles. 80% gross margins there. Also, they issued a lot of new shares to be able to meet this, the money that they need to be able to grow. So a lot of dilution. Last but not least, a lot of the EBITDA surge came from structural lease adjustments. They fixed their contracts with landlords to make it more profit sharing, and they dropped some costs there. So good for them. Let's see how they trade.
Best of luck to everyone at the bell. You guys looking at AMC or IRN today?
Yeah, look at it. I think as long as the volume is there for AMC, it can be anything. It's just underneath VWAP. It just lost it a few minutes ago, so it would be a heck of a lot nicer if we can hold that 225 level. Outside of that, 210 would be the next support for them. Deshaun mentioned it wasn't much on the imbalance locator, but you do at least have AMC. Here, very, very small buy. You need more than 600,000 to be big. iBid was a small sell, 200,000. You got Archer at 200,000 buy side. Netflix with a 200,000 sell. Alibaba with a couple 100,000. Two said buy side. As well as Alibaba kind of moving a little bit higher on that note. We do have AMD and Google both going higher, although giving back some of the gains on new chip news. A deal with Anthropic and new chip for Alphabet taking them higher. As we get to the opening bell for the first time this week, big earnings brought to you by VinFast, as ticker VFS. Want to thank them for sponsoring the opening bells. We get this Monday started.
And the first trade we might get is, thank you to everybody for watching. And make sure you can get into that. Give a like, subscribe. Thank you to everybody watching on TikTok, everybody watching everywhere. We say a big what's up to Trader Forever, Mike Peter Ryder, and everybody else. All right, looking for 3620s or so here for iBid. I thought this might have been one of the first names that could pop in, but it looks like it's going to be SpaceX right now. And SpaceX, again, is not, I repeat, I've already bought shorts on this name, so we're fine on that one. It's not something I want to sit here and, take against me. This 123, I really want to see a level come through of 123. And it looks like, wow, man, SpaceX just went from positive couple points down to red right now from 126 open, just touched 123.75 down there, now popping back up $1. So SpaceX losing its way just a little bit here early. And then I look over on my other screen and SK Hynix losing the bid as well. That was 164 down to 160. So all these names like that, this is a buy zone for me right now, but it's only a minute in. So I don't want to do that. And even if I put on like smaller shares, it's like, it's not worth taking a hit right off the first couple of minutes. Let it settle down. But it looks like it just does a huge bounce there. Wow, monster bounce, as I just say. Again, even if you take whatever small amount of shares, you can make a buck on it, start your day off right. But at the end of the day, I'm going to have to give it a minute. But SK Hynix grabbing some of my interest right now down near 160 as that stock starting to go. We'll keep an eye for anything. This stock halted, but no volume. Again, LBJ2. SK. Oh, this is a good one here. Sky Q was a name that we've seen before. perennial runner there, just broke out right now as well. 476 there on hold. So watch out for Sky Quarry right there on a circuit breaker right off the jump there. And by the way, SK Hynix Neil just lost 160.
Yeah, now that it's go back,
This name started.
DRAM's not really bleeding that much though. So I don't know if SK Hynix gets deep into the 150s and DRAM isn't really getting into that 52 support, like might have to look for a different level. So there's 53 and a quarter, but as the market goes higher, by the way, because I know we're looking at, you just said SpaceX and SK Hynix and all that good stuff, but the Nasdaq's actually going up. So obviously you're getting a little bit of strength coming from the market, despite the fact that most of what I'm looking at is going down. So DRAM, Alibaba looks like we're not going to
be falling back.
And Alibaba's not moving, so patience required on Baba as well. It's literally 40-cent range on Alibaba as we speak. That's about as big of a nothing burger open as possible. So I don't want to get wrapped into the whole forcing of anything. This isn't going to test. Here we go. Now we'll start to test lower. So 117 and a half was lovely. Like that, we can look to wait for. A name that we didn't talk about at all, I know for sure. Apple's losing the bid. So even though the market's going higher in Nasdaq, you are seeing at least this Mag 7 look a little bit. Robinhood. Like Robinhood started to pull back in. That 99 of Robinhood.
All right. I'm just going to put out a quick stop. We have our first trade of the day. Alphabet is absolutely ripping, by the way. Right now, we can have a look at Alphabet. I'm just going to take it into this. Nice move up right here in the market. We're just going to talk about the 730 level on the TQs and halo panic to NASDAQ. As Neil said, I mean, we're off to the races here. We do not want to hold something for very long in this space, right? If this NASDAQ peaks out, which it's doing right now, then we can just punch out a quick hitter here if it does fail for us on the NASDAQ. If we can get a pullback right to where we started the day, then we could get a little bit of a better feel for it, then we'll try that one, right? But we're just going to try to risk break here just over its high to the upside, breaking through. That's 70. I mean, this level is right where we're at, so we're just giving it a little bit higher. So, just like I said, about a dime and a half or so upside here on the NASDAQ as there it starts to go. So light trade early here, but yeah, it's Google. We'll see what happens here. It looks like it is going to break higher, which is fine. We just thought that there was an opportunity there. It looks like it's not. But here it is right here. It's Google, man, up nicely, up $4 right there, right away off the open. So as the NASDAQ looks like it wants to go higher, you do have names like AMD that I saw was pulling back, I thought. Yeah, a little bit, 525 or 510. So that might have some DRAM strength now coming in as we've seen a little bit of this, I guess, exuberance. Yeah, it's sort of like acceleration on the 200 but yeah, maybe some buyer exuberance back into the NASDAQ right now. Other than that, man, I mean, SpaceX is back to 125. There you go. So we just got taken out at 05. Whatever, man. I told you we're getting about 15 cents. So that's the first mark on the futures. Not good. I always like to take that just in case that was a huge move higher and a little bit of a fade back. We did have a good level to try to take it off of. So again, pretty light amount of shares, easy trade there. Obviously, it didn't work out, but we try to trade the future there to the short side. No good on that one. As I'm still, my eyes still looking up for some the break, but it looks like right now it's still kind of on the off.
Yeah, outside of Bob maybe getting to a level, and nothing else is really there yet. Except I just saw AMC lose people off. This might just end up being a sell the new short if we lose people off early on AMC. Like we've seen so many times, nothing else is setting up. The whole small cap gapper that loses the volume weighted average price could be it. So this close on the 3 minute is very likely to close on the VWAP. I would jump short if I could in the low 20s. We have locates at real. Oh wait a minute. Thought we did. Okay, apparently we do not have free locates on AMC. I would swear I checked. Let's go back to the desk to Adara. I'm going to go pay for them.
Keep an eye on MU today. This note likely came out before the bell and see it circulate right now. UBS, here with an analyst noting that Micron could potentially repurchase over 40% of its shares by the end of 2028. They're basically saying that they expect the company to generate over $40 billion in free cash flow during 2028. But once that buyback restriction expires in December 9th, 2026, they could use all this cash to repurchase over 40% of their shares. So interesting look here for MU, currently hanging out near session highs. I mean, the session's pretty young still, but SanDisk also popping here at the open. Better than here's SKI totally doing its own things. Micron, some of these other US not great plays.
I was I was good. Here's Micron right here. Yeah, good news there. Wow. I mean, this was a name that again I almost did it. Like it was going to be one of those names that we like for our sort of our next quarter trade here. But yeah, Micron, you're going to buy back shares. I mean, that's great. I mean, you don't know what to do with your money, so give it back to shareholders. That's fine. So what you're doing there is shrinking the float, right, by buying it back. So it's complete opposite of raising capital and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, great job there for Micron. Looks like demand is going to still be there. Like I said, this week coming for Intel, obviously very, very important here. Sky Cube's opened back up. This could be one of those runners for sure. As it's just early days on Sky Cube, breaking right there above 440. So you can wait to see what this name wants to do here. You could give it. I might just give it a little bit of a run here on Sky Cube just to wait to see what winds up happening there against that 440 level. I mean, that's what we went through. We halted. Looks like it was a decent spot right there on the break. That's $4, and then up here is 412. So we're just going to give it a little bit of a shot here. And just looking at the daily chart, that was 440. So we whipped up here before 440 and change. So let's go try to see if we can get a little bit of profit here. We're long at 61, so we'll just give it back down. Well, it's very, very simple. This shouldn't be a halt band yet, just down 30 cents. So we'll put a stop there to brace that 40 level. Let's hold on to some Sky Q and see if it gets a little higher here throughout the day. But yeah, that's my second trade of the day. First one here. And that's a good thing that we got out of that is the NASDAQ right now. Wow. So yeah, good sort of follow-up day from Friday where we battled all the way back upside. And then before I got distracted with Sky Q, I wanted to go to Apple because I think this could be a short around here. Apple's been getting hit just a little bit over the last couple of days. I just think that the money going back in, they raised a little bit of money on Micron and all that kind of stuff. Watch Apple go back up there to the upside. And now you're starting to buy back some of those shares that have beat up. So maybe Apple's turn sort of reverse a little bit back down in. So we'll wait to see if I can get some Apple around 330.
David Yang, feeling sorry. Thank you for the super chat, first of all, but you're feeling sorry for people who panicked last week. Well, I mean, we are 8 minutes into Monday's session, so I think a lot has to be determined. But yeah, it's a each their own. We have a lot of earnings to get through this week. They'll probably determine a little bit more about how the market's doing relative outside of the first 10 minutes today. But yeah, you can be happy the market's go up. I'm gonna be happy the market's go up for sure. The only thing I mean is AMC. Like this is the first for morning show. It's 9:39. It's like AMC and Sky Q are like the two names. We're in right now.
We're always in these two names.
Oh, I mean the
our history here, Sky Q and AMC.
But with the market blasting, at least now, DRAM's trying to pull back. Going to broke out the pre-market highs. Now it's time to pull back, maybe to hold that volume weighted average price. We've already seen Micron, SK Hynix, we've seen to the downside a little bit. Micron pulling back into that volume weighted average price. So we're going to have to hold. That's going to be the key. I'm going to pop you up, and I want to see what's underneath the hood. Do it as well. Speaking of, well, there was no pop in SpaceX thing. It is heading down to that 123. This will set up the volume weighted average price to look for some kind of a short. So still just in AMC. What is Alibaba doing? Of course, with that new model, doesn't get down to 117.5 to actually trade, but that's still a pretty good bottom tail here. Bottoming tail candle off the support. So if it's not going to trade down here, close over VWAP, and I guess that'll be a way to try to get into Alibaba here. And it's kind of disappointing this morning. The market's moving up, and what I wanted to short didn't come in. So the first thing I do is go to a small cap for that VWAP fade all day trade, and there goes AMC trying to get back to the upside. I almost wanted AMC, but that's not the first place I thought I'd be. I thought it would be Baba. I thought it would be DRAM, maybe even SpaceX. But SpaceX just continues to go up.
I'm going to block that. I told you guys I'm going to start trading some more small cap names. There goes Sky Q now, 20 cents in the money. So we're already 1-to-1. So now we've got two pieces out here. Now we're out of 20%, 10 and 10. Okay, as we continue to go higher now on Sky Q here. I don't even know the story, but we're just doing normal small cap stuff where you don't need to know the story. So we're just going to keep on doing what we're doing best right here. Try to get out of another 10% if we can go higher to $5.
There is no story. Apparently, it's an oil refining and or marketing play, so they could be kind of in this space. Which is how I see them have to do with oil refineries. This could be oil.
Yeah, I remember the chat when I was asking for things other than battle. I do remember
someone saying this one.
Some people were mentioning that. So.
Okay, well, like I said, this is still very capable of coming right back in. So we're just going to watch out for that 440 area right there. I have no idea. We were able to get something out there. But I guess if we lose it all, it comes back to 440. then making 20 cents there, losing 20 cents here on a bigger part is not going to be a great look. So we'll take another piece out if we can get it, another one out near 80. As again, like I'm not worried about the price of oil, what this is doing. We're just trying to watch out for the movement there on Sky Qs. For right now, if you're doing Sky Quarry, I think that's what we're about to stock. Right now, we'll look at some of the bank space, 342 and change. JP Morgan, upside for today, anyways. 343. We'll have to see if that's going to hold. The down to right now is it's 942. I'm looking for some more opportunities. Nasdaq nicely going. I do think that Google for a long, if on a pullback, but I mean, wow, we get that story there today from Google. Story for Google was what a new chip, I believe, that they're trying to do.
Reportedly, according to the information, it would basically allow these Gemini models to run more efficiently. Actually, it's called Frozen. I believe
Ooh,
the
that's
name of
what it
the
was.
chip, at least.
Okay, so that's what it was. So it was frozen there. So we're frozen out of the long right now. This is the name that, again, we had bought on Friday in our little competition there. We'd like that move up there for Google. And yeah, to your point there, I feel bad for anybody that didn't buy Google last week, but you might have some more opportunities. The report's coming, man. I mean, I would not jump to any conclusions here on any of these names. Any names ahead of earnings in this next 3 weeks are huge. So we're getting ready for that. Another out for Sky Quarry. Right there, the only trade that, of course, I have on right now. And just looking for names that have been making a little bit of an outsized move. So everyone in the chat, what's up, man? Hope you guys are having a great Monday. Hope you enjoyed the World Cup final there. Hope you enjoyed the whole tournament. I think the tournament was much better than the final. But at the end of the day, that's sports, right? Sometimes you get some good results and exciting games, sometimes not so exciting games. I did hear that England won the bronze medal game. Not that anybody was caring about that.
You mean that scrimmage?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Did anybody play? I was wondering if anybody was going to did Mbappe.
No, Mbappe got the golden boot. So they lost the match, but he was all smiles because there was no defense being played.
How do you award a golden boot when they're playing extra?
He would have won it anyways.
Oh,
It was fine.
anyways?
He was in the lead anyways, and didn't do anything. So
It should not count.
if he had won, it would have been an absolute choke. But let's be real. People that watch that, it was entertaining. If you like All-Star games and you look like the back and forth pacing of that, that's entertaining.
That's fun. People looking for more goals, right? We're not.
Well, England could have started Jude and just let him score 5 goals and try to get golden boot. But they didn't do that.
This is what I
They put him on the him and Kane were on the bench.
They should. Oh, that
Harry Kane did
there was one of our players that wouldn't play.
And by the way,
Did they ever come off the bench?
here's why I'm upset about it. My call for the dude that was going to make the difference was Saka. And he didn't get a chance at all against Argentina. But he was certainly fit enough to score a hat trick in the games.
Yeah, but some people don't play well.
Anyways, isn't it? I'm going to get into DRAM for the first time here. Wow, 123 just broke. I just looked up in STX, SpaceX, and total sample. Here, we're going to play the long weight average price here on DRAM. Tachi Edwards. You guys want to get even more bearish? SMCZ and MSCZ. Well, they're pretty bullish. Ooh. I mean, the market's blasting higher. Why are we trying to get bearish? Really? I'm not fighting with crypto today. I'm actually not even looking at that. So I can't tell you what MSTR is doing because I think Bitcoin is at 64.6, it's underneath. Which I think that's 65, 66. It's all out. This one, yeah, it's just obviously not doing too well with MSTZ, as you guys can see here. Bitcoin not participating, I suppose, in some strength. But I'm not really. Oh, this is the inverse. Oh, I'm down for Bitcoin. I'm not playing. What? It's not breaking the high, is that?
MSCR, no. It's not getting Bitcoin.
We're literally doing absolutely nothing.
Okay.
Why do we like MST? Why do we like?
I think you just say that if you want to get bearish.
I mean, Bitcoin's not breaking out with the market. I suppose that's
Tesla reporting this week.
right? Yeah, Tesla reported this week.
Okay.
Really not moving there on Bitcoin, but not moving also means not going up with the market. So I kind of.
Yeah, no, I think that's the whole thing about potentially getting bearish there on Bitcoin. I don't mind that play again. Bitcoin, you're not waiting for earnings, you're not waiting for anything. You're just waiting for it to eventually fall back into some levels where people may or may not buy. 64 hasn't been like an exciting level for Bitcoin. It's just been battling back and forth 64. Like it gets to 65, and you think it's going to break 66, it does. It gets to like 68, it drops again back into this level. So I do have some bids ready to go on. I had wrote it down at 365. So if we get back into 64,000 is where I kind of want to buy crypto, and I'm sitting there right now to do that. All right, so I have nothing else other than SkyQ, but I am looking at Tesla. That's why I just asked to make sure, because we did look. I saw it on there. I knew it was just kind of just a joke. I knew it was on Wednesday, but they're going to report here. Nice little low levels there of 380. So I think now that now that Tesla showed us some of these bottom wicks there, potentially coming back into 381 now is a buy opportunity. But the futures are trying to get a little stagnant up here. I feel like that was a nice little wick top there. So I'm thinking about getting back in potentially for it. And I don't want to, like people were saying that there might be a FOMO. We already had a super chat about FOMO already today there. And, I'm wondering if that is the case now with the NASDAQ where, this is a little bit of a dip. Will the buyers start to come in at some point out here for the NASDAQ, thinking that, hey, so many names on some positive news today with that Google story, with AMD, with Microsoft, with more spend, is the market just coming in for a dip right now? Let's have a look. I'd rather sort of go long and go short against that top break, but I wouldn't mind another test back up here near 70.40 on the TQs just to see if that winds up holding. And then if we get another fail back down, I think 2 times the charm, and we'll see if we can run that to the south side. Otherwise, let's look at VWAP down here, 69.80, kind of where we initially took that first spot. If we can get some buyers around 70, which is coming in, I think that's a decent look for the TQs, and then maybe run along the rest of the day, but needs to come back into 70. And then even then, we really want to hold it all the way back there. Like what kind of size? And this is why I always say I think the most important thing about trading is the sizing. So it's about trying to figure out like how much risk do you take at this level? Where do you hold it to? What do you have when it comes down here? Because if you're oversized, then what's going to happen is you're going to stop out and potentially wick low and then start to rip back up. And if you only had half the shares, then your pressure point may be a little less if you're looking at a P&L type of thing there. So trying to figure out what the right amount of size is, but I'm trying to think it's $70 right there for the TQQs. And then we did have that huge move in Meta last week, and I'm always like, should maybe sold some Meta, but then again, when you sell some AMD, it goes higher. But that was just a big move back for Meta there. It got all the way to 680, man, and now it's on the way back. Like, who was that? We just had somebody on the show. Was it Steve Tileman? And I'm going to keep calling people out because it's not calling them out. It's what they talked about. He loved the long back at the 200 period moving average on Meta. So that's at 630. So this candle didn't happen. Did we get to 610? I don't know. It's so many crazy moves on Friday. I don't think so. But again, into 6, and it's not calling them out. We're not underneath it yet. So this 620, 650, Randy, this 640 area, into 630, I kind of like those levels there for Meta.
Yeah, that's a false candle.
That's a false candle.
It's a bad dark pool.
Okay, so we didn't get down there. If we honestly went
No, we did it. It was 26 was low.
That would have been 10%, but the way the market was moving on the weekend,
It made me looking like, what the heck? Meta was down that low.
Tesla earnings on Wednesday. True, yeah, okay, not false. Okay, that's good. Rivian, yeah, you're always about Rivian these days. Eh? Rivian up to 7.
You know what's bigger than Rivian lately? No, Lucid.
Oh, Lucid's been bigger than everything.
Dude, Lucid went from we might be going bankrupt to now tripling from the
The
low.
greatest company in the
That
world.
is a triple up from that low. Unbelievable. The shorts that are getting destroyed, it's crazy. SpaceX at 122.
SpaceX just tanked right through our 123. I'm not going to go up there, but I know we're talking about the very famous stock Lucid. But SpaceX right now, a name that people are actually invested in, I think, right there, breaking down below there. Are we buying more at 120? Like, the last sort of bid I put in was 135. Man, that was a shitty in. And right now you're down to 1, like, really bad in. Now you're down 10% from that area.
Well, every in sucks.
Yeah.
There's been no good
No, but
buy.
even just to think of 130, 135 didn't even think about that. And then now it's all the way back down. And look at this chart there, Randy. Good thing I caught at the top over here, like some people must be. 230 on day 2, Randy. 120 about a month later. So yeah, not a great experience there for SpaceX shareholders, including myself. Downhill skiing. Yeah, if you're a big fan of the Alpine, this might be a good one. There as well. But 122. We actually, what was the all-time low for SpaceX? Was it around here?
This.
Yeah, like,
122, almost exactly.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, right here.
Yeah, 122.
Okay, and a little higher. The 122, we just broke it a little bit. Yeah, this could be a bid now for SpaceX. I'm going to try it. I'm going long right now, 122.50. Let's give it a go. We're just going to give it against 121, whatever that low is today, 121.90. Let's give it against the low here and see if SpaceX can battle back.
And I hope it does. I also hope Robinhood holds on to this double barrel bottom that we got. This was that 99 we're looking at. There's a double bottom. It just held it now. So a breakthrough VWAP is one way. Another way is hold this bottoming tail candle. What I don't like is at the same time, here comes DRAM trying to lose that bottom weighted average price. So I'm perched underneath the 54 and a third. And if we can't hold that, then we got to get out of Dodge on DRAM. Thought this one could be like that all day play. It can hold VWAP here, and then it's like an ad above the bottom weighted average price. But so far, not so good. The market is giving, I don't want to say giving it all back, but that NASDAQ, which was breaking out, is right back to VWAP. So it did give the entirety of the opening move back. So what the sales?
SpaceX just took out the very bottom again.
What the heck, SpaceX?
So, I got
Every single buy in SpaceX has been bad. You know what? It's hilarious. Nobody, I haven't had a bullish day sentiment thinking for the day trade, but I still bought like 20% in my personal account. Like what I think is going to be a long.
has no choice but to be a lot.
No, I know it is, but that was the plan of action
for all of us.
I could have all of it at not a gigantically better price, but at least 5% better.
At least, well, 5%, it's not 5% today almost from this high.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. We're all, everyone's out of the money now 20-30%. I mean, I don't see any reason how you can't really buy some at 170, buy some more 135. You're down, like the average price right now of 150 is about what I have. So, I'm down $30 on 150 right now.
Elon's just fine.
Elon is just fine. This stock company can go to zero and Elon is just fine. There goes SpaceX right now. Maybe not zero. But I'm just gonna flip it up and sure, it's easy peasy, man. This guy I was talking about made about $5 billion last week, trading some sort of a Katina reversion strategy he was talking about. So let's see if we can do it ourselves now, or if we get one that didn't stop out. So I'm gonna try to give this honestly. I want to try to give it a little bit of room just because of the back and forth nature of it. Like you get stopped out here for like 40 cents. It's a tough one. There's way more than 40 cents worth of a move here on SpaceX. So trade it like, back and forth like that. I'm not sure that that's going to be right. So let's try to give this back to like a 124, like really where the breaking started. And I written down here that we went 123 long. So it's just, a little bit off-putting here today with SpaceX. So let's just give it a little bit of a ride here. If we can come up to 123, I think that's a little bit of a better sell. So let's just be patient with it. Now we only have a quarter of a unit, so it's pretty small. We only had half a unit the first time that we lost. So we're putting a little bit of money back into this game. Let's give it up to 122.50, and then we'll see if we can get like a little bit of a spike up to there, right into here, kind of where we got stopped. Well, we got stopped out on basically the 50 break. So if it can come back up there, let's average it in, then we'll wait to see what some of these magical lines mean later on during the day. All right. Well, honestly, man, I'm already at 40% of this. We just got a nice one there on Sky Q. So Sky Quarry here. I am your small cap trader here, and I'm just joking. That's a good day, guys. But right here, we take it right here, and we watched VE last week. We made some great calls, and then I didn't take it, and we just left it for Joe and Sharif. But right here on Sky Quarry, I don't have a problem taking some of these. It's a nice breakout right from there. So I think we got it right off the halt on the way down in. So give us some little bit of a cushion here. See what winds up happening with Sky Quarry. And I think another out is due, right? I mean, we just bounced off of 80 again. So let's put another offer right here. Get out. We can maybe hold half for the bigger move and try to play with house money. Playing with house money is a good idea for these small cap things because you never know where they're going to go or how far they're going to go against. So if you can get out for flat and then try to ride with the house, I think that's a decent strategy for this.
Yeah, it's usually a good way to go. It's so weird. The market pulls back and SK Hynix catches it at the same moment. So this is actually coming back higher. I might have gone the worst. We'll see about that out on DRAM when SK Hynix is a little bit higher. But we did take it out underneath VWAP. There's the break of the high. There's the VWAP hold. But it's starting to lose VWAP again. That was probably the right decision. Not a green candle since that start. And it's still looking incredibly weak. So if SK Hynix doesn't participate, then I don't think DRAM's going to do could do too well. You just said Apple's going good.
Well, it's like this was the one name that I actually wanted, and I just missed it because I looked at it too late. Like I'm still sitting there. My offers are still there, man. They're still at 332, but it happened too late. It looks like we actually that was 934. Let me see what time I put my orders out at. 935. Yeah. So it's just like wasn't looking at it early enough, and we didn't get it that bounce back up into that level. So we just put it in, and then since then it doesn't matter. I'm not in it, but that was a good call. And look at the futures. You want to talk about a good call? Jeez, man, Joe. There it goes. Like we take like a 10, 15 cent hit, but we would have had to hold it against us 40 cents, so it's not a good call. But remember we were looking at it and we said, what about that top wick there potentially showing us a downside move there? We wanted to look at this at 70. Kind of good thing we didn't. We got sort of caught up with SpaceX there, which now SpaceX is now, by the way, easy peasy. Can't wait to see what your super chat potentially looks like here today. Because if you did the Katina reversion play here, oh boy, there it is, man. Downside pressure now for SpaceX as we're trying to make it all back here. Now it's $1 in. Well, hopefully $1 in if we break through 121. But there's the short rate there for SpaceX. So we messed around with the long, then we flipped it up on its head, and now we've gone short on that one. So we'll see. There's SpaceX losing their bid right now down to 121. We're short the name, and it's kind of a good thing that we didn't hit that reverse there. The reverse card was laid for SpaceX. Put another bid right here. Why not? You just take an 04 there. Now we'll wait to see what happens at 121. Remember, that break of 121 will get violence. So let's put a bid down there in 77s. Okay, there it is. So there's a clean break. Does actually not go down that far. Only went to 55 on that 77. We'll see if we get another bid, and then we'll still be in like 70% of this. So far, so good here as we wait to see for the outcome of this SpaceX bid.
Yeah, SpaceX is going to hit that 120.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be a bit of a wall there. The only thing holding up really well, I suppose, would be Iran, 60% to the upside. That's the thing on the watch list today. I'm so glad we got away with it and it did not trickle back long again. That is continuing to fall like an absolute rock. I've re-offered over on our good friend AMC, which is back underneath VWAP. But Alibaba is holding up. So this is one of the only things that we like long, which is looking pretty solid with the market pulling back. It's going sideways. Good luck. As long as it break of 119, I'm going to jump in and then just throw this off under the par bar. It's actually less than 50 cents risk it takes for 119. Going to throw that order out there so we try to grab it. That's one of the names that we thought this morning would be a little bit more active, but don't worry. Chinese ADRs, they don't have to move with the North American markets. Robinhood still, it's right at that 99 level and losing. So it's still losing that bid in Robinhood. I don't see any reason to get this one at all. Not going to fight it. And one more. All right, here it is. I didn't have these guys on the list, but if you break the trend and move VWAP, I'm still there. I'm bearish in this thing.
But y'all know you
The daily
ain't
chart speaks
even
for
know
itself.
Leah. I ain't worried about it. So why would you keep sit there and call her weird shit?
Give it to and we're going to go with there.
It's already 7 o'clock.
She called my phone magazine. I think you was around and they told me that you called.
So she was pretty safe with things like all the data for
Oh, that she
Keep an eye on the USO as well. This ain't not doing too much here off the open, but we know we heard reports from Iranian state media earlier this morning that mediators, including Pakistan and Qatar, want the U.S. and Iran to engage in a 10-day period to try to revive, I guess, this ceasefire MOU that has been more or less thrown to the wayside over the last couple of days and weeks. GeoDL and Focus Google this morning has mentioned a couple times now, reportedly planning this new chip they're calling Frozen that will help it run AI models more efficiently, specifically, of course, the Gemini models. This is according to the information, no confirmation yet. IREN also in focus here with a pre-market announcement, raising its year-end AI annual run rate revenue here. That target is going from 3.7 billion to over $4 billion, also announcing a big contract value. Let's see if we have the update here on this number that did not populate. That was going to be the CD index month over month. Nothing here again, nothing massive. Okay, negative 0.2%. So a little bit lower than we were expecting here. Again, the forecast is negative 0.1%. That is our update now update. We're going to send you back over to see what's happening with Sean.
Thank you, Dara. You guys can see it right now. All the activity in the markets, there's been a heck of a lot of it, especially going into earnings season. So there's an offer your broker isn't giving you to take advantage of that, because there's big opportunity here. You got to have two things: discipline and access to capital. That's where the offer from Trade the Pool comes in. By the size of your own account, the firm's capital and focus on executing your strategy while managing risk. Don't fear blowing up your own personal account. Don't moving your stop loss early because you're worried about your own savings. That's called limited risk trading. So if you want to take advantage of the volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, visit tradethepool.com. Scan the QR code you get in front of you. Want to thank them for the part of the show. Want to thank Mitch for coming on. We added last week, of course, the Talon and friends for Trade the Pool as well. As this market heads back into the down, so we have a super chat from Random Oddities regarding SK Hynix. Of course, well, you guys can see it, 000660 over there in Cosby. Something to look at the open was red, but SKHY was green in US pre-market and flushed at the open. Now there's a bit of an arb trade that does happen between the two. So understand that when you have that dynamic going on, in the short term, it doesn't always have to follow, but it's not, if you already have a bias in one direction, you can still play that angle. It's not a bad way. Look at things, but just understand that there is a bit of an arb. Think of it similarly to sometimes how an STR in Bitcoin would have weird movements because they're so heavily arb against each other. That does create a disconnect, which can make it really tricky for day traders to just try to take. Be careful out there. It's good to have an idea. Because remember, most arbs that are going to make money are eaten up and gobbled by algos. So if they're not gobbling it up, sometimes you have to ask yourself the question, why?
Yeah.
That could be a big.
Yeah, it's an easy way to. I mean, if you guys are thinking about those strategies,
And believe me, the big ones
already there's somebody else doing it as well. So this Sky Q here may drop out, and if it does, it's good because that not good. Bad for the long, but that 440 is coming in. So we just took another piece there at 71 on your 25 period moving average. I'm still sitting at 78, I believe. All right, so just to let you guys know, we're dropping this out at 440 dropout for Sky Q. All right, I just took. Okay, what happened to my chart? Looks like we did not halt on SpaceX there. We do miss some data. So I don't know. But anyways, I just took a bid out at 70. You can clearly see we're not making up that print right there because that's where it is right now. And I'm tired of it doing nothing right down at this level. So I still am bidding 120.20, but I just took a 70 fill right there just for everybody to see that. Again, I don't know what's going on with our charts there, but it is. Yours have one? Fine. Okay, I think we'll fill out. I think this will fill out. But anyways, yeah, there it is to the downside there for SpaceX. So no idea why I'm missing some information there. We are getting into IBIT longs, I think, soon. Oh, there goes Sky Q. So it actually dropped through 440. That's face slapper to the downside right there. So we're actually pretty even on it. We told you we're trying to get out of half. We actually want to holding a little bit more than half into that trade. So it'll be a cup of coffee. We will be right on it, but it's nothing. We should have actually, couldn't have done anything. It just didn't go. You know, we take the shot there, break to the 50 period moving average. I'm more than happy getting out there. Reason why, forget about the 50 period. I mean, obviously that's something you look at, but that top rate there was 440 on the daily chart. So I just wanted to say if we did break back above that, that was a good long. That's where we went long. And we got out once it broke through. So there it is. That might be the bottom. So you guys can have a quick look over there. There's no bottom in touch for Sam Michael Roberts here, SMR and NewScale, as that continues to bleed lower there as well. Yeah, gates of hell. Yeah, this day does seem to be in a little bit of problem here. It was $10 like 2 weeks ago. You know, now you're $7.50. So buy 25% of your holdings there. Might be worth buying at some point, bouncing off $7 there for SMR. So definitely a look happening. Sky. I just got out of Sky, but SK Hynix. Wow, too many SKs today. SKHY right there. Take out my AK and have a little spray. 160, good hold level there for the short so far for SK Hynix. So watch out for a 157 coming into your neighborhood soon. That's been a good hold level there, but we'll have to watch out for it there. Yeah, what's up to everybody there? Anna Trader, big shout out. Thank you for joining us on TikTok. Thank you so much, Tommy Gunn, as we talked about you before as well. Tommy there in the chat. Tommy Gunn was this morning for something.
It's the new fighter, UFC.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay, so yeah, I mean, good. So this is finally a name, that I'm in, but we're in higher than where we are now. So we need to get this name back just a little bit higher right now. But IREN up 14% on some more contracts, some more use of their compute power. So IREN, that's what we're kind of looking for here. Is that good story? But like I said already, this might be a sell opportunity. Like IREN's been getting hit, and we just bounced off of like a no moss level. Like if you were going to break below this, there was really nothing below 30, So yeah, you had to watch out for that break. And I don't know, man, might be a good opportunity to take out a little bit and say, wow, I got saved by the action today. Anyways, IREN, nice move higher so far into this open.
Adam James abroad. What up to you? And also, Vamos España. Hey, congratulations, folks. Never a more deserved. You can't have a more.
Yeah, that was a good one. They ran a whole tournament.
They absolutely
put up like one goal the whole tournament.
Just fantastic. ADVB is going again. You're absolutely right. It just ticked. I hope this isn't the jinx, but it just broke the high of the day. ADVB. I don't know the deets on this one. Usually we'll already have them up. What do we got? What are we working with here? 1 million floats, of which almost nothing is short. But 1 million float is going to tell the story. It's already done 10 times as we soaked it up. Somebody's likely soaked it up in thousands of squeeze. This is one of those reverse split mavens, and there's been a bunch of selling. So anyone that does the short, the reverse split strategy, if there's a hedge or anybody that does that on this stock, they're kind of just look at all of the resistance underneath $9 specifically $8 level for ADVB. That would explain why you're already at the $8 level for ADVB. That would explain why you're already running into a bit of a double top. New thing we got into with the market looking red, SLV and moving country. I don't know if we're going to. Was offering 51.5, we were giving it to 6. I don't know if that's going to fill, so we might have to move this into the volume weighted average price. Still thinking Robinhood. Robinhood did hold that 99. I mean, tell the 99 clean. I don't know if we get a chance at a double top. Might just have to look at this holding 100 and breaking at the top. Robinhood got an upgrade. It was just an upgrade for Robinhood. No other story as to why they were in play this morning. For sure. And Tisha Perkins as well. This is a pretty popular song. This ADBB. So another one. You said ADBB. So another one. You said room to 912. That's what we're just showing at that daily chart. So Tisha, I know you're all over the small cappers. Congratulations to you. Good luck with that small cap mover. Probably going to move a heck of a lot more than AMC today. I promise you that. At least in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening here. Actually, we have a reposition right here. We'll see. We wanted to get into IBIT, at some point here today. Nice move down. Like, it's so stupid because we wrote down again, like 36.25. Comes into 36.32 there. I am bidding 36.25, sorry. 21s it was. I should be doing 25s. So here it comes back in. We're going to average into this position as it's coming back in a little bit here on IBIT. It's so sad because the biggest trade of the day for me would have been this short rate there, but unfortunately it comes back out as here comes the market just bleeding down a little bit. You're trying to take out, it stays low, and now you're underneath everything. So maybe we should be actually thinking about the other way around here. The big short that was missed, of course, was TQQs. It was Apple, because this one we were pennies away, moments away from getting that trade, and we don't have it. So I'm going to cancel my offers now. That doesn't seem to be working out, but here we go, man. It's SpaceX. Wow, this name is absolutely falling right now. We are now at $1.70 in the money on this name, and we wait for 120.20s to come in. That will be my out in front of 120. I'm not going to take another out. Like, we've got a couple of outs here in front of 121. We got like a 121.50, then we got 121 flat. And because it was bouncing around, we got a couple of fills I think the 70s there, and now we're waiting for just 10 more cents lower. But did we get that fill? No, we didn't. So we're gonna wait for 10 cents lower and take a 120.20 fill, and after that, man, we'll watch it break through 120 and maybe even punch more short on a 120 break, to the downside. I don't even think that that's a trade that we need to be too afraid of. So right now, it looks like SpaceX is definitely losing that bid, and it's only down 3%. Like it could be down a hell of a lot more. So let's be careful with it.
I heard Joe like a nice one, but I heard Joe laughing over there. You excited about SpaceX going down, Joe? That's crazy.
Yeah, he may be short with me here. I mean, I'm excited for it going down too, but in the long term portfolio,
I think we're all that.
It's obviously not that exciting for me. I'm probably in. I know I'm 170 and I'm 135, basically the same amount of shit.
Left brain, right brain, right?
Yeah, sort of.
Trading
I don't. I'm not a smart enough trader. I hopefully for investing I can make some good trades. But yeah, for trading, I'm just going to go short this name. We'll see if we can get a downside play right now on SpaceX. We are going to go over to Joe in a minute.
The market's not red yet.
Already down 25% in the amount that I bought already in it, right? So yeah, exactly. Like you said, there's been no real good buy, but I'm thinking that this thing can go to $100, so we just grab a little bit more down there. So.
It's certainly possible. Look, it's absolutely. Forget about the 7. I think the first price target that anybody came out with worked out to. I think it would have been more of a price into the 80s, high like that big one. But I hate the market red, not because the NASDAQ or the ES have gone red yet, but mostly because we just lost VWAP on both of them. So the uptrend that we were just in on the NQ, bye-bye, same thing with the ES. So I think we're kind of still headed into the downside. I thought maybe I took another leg up on the way to the gap fill for SLV. Same thing. Like VWAP, looking for it to close the gap on a continuation. But if you look over it, like Robinhood was doing so well. It really was. For a minute. It was looking pretty good. Trying to close above VWAP. Now it's back underneath $100. So wait for the double bottom at 99, or it needs to regain 100 and take out that top at 100 and a half. One of the other names, which is barely holding on. I mean, the bad news for Alibaba is it's really not doing anything despite this gap up and the new model that we're supposedly all excited about. But it hasn't broken the low yet. So there's still the chance that Alibaba gives me this breakout trade. The order is not in right now because we're threatening the low, but this is at least holding better than a lot of the other stuff that I'm watching. But I still like Alibaba for a breakout. The thing about a breakout trade is if it doesn't get through level, then you don't actually take the trades. We're still going to have to hold on to one short there and see what else we can find. Because there isn't a lot that's looking incredibly bullish. Alphabet, that's about it. 3.5 points. I think they're holding us up right now. Right? It's all about Google. We got the new chip story, and they're just flying to the upside. Perhaps if you bought that on Alphabet, congratulations. If you bought AMD on Anthropic, you lose everything. So the two names that we're blasting on news this morning, it's basically a 50-50 split between the two of them. Can't be too surprised, though. Google does give you the value play, which you can't really say the same.
All right. Right here we are long on iBits, and it's coming right back in as well. So, wow, man, this market just really upside down right now. Was up about 1.5% there, where we should have shorted it. Now you're getting a little bounce. You're getting a bounce off the SPY right here because it is, again, on a longer term trend to the downside today anyways. But, we still are trying to be a little bullish in it. It's trying to get a bounce off the 50-period moving average right now and down here as well. So the 744, 745 area, trying to get a little bit of a bounce actually there. Look at this, man. Look at the Sky Q. Remember where we got out right there? How about the bottom? Right there, breaking through 440. So, again, just the same kind of way. It's like instead of panicking, thinking that, oh my God, these names are just going to drop like crazy. There's enough volume here that this name's not really moving like that. So another bid down to 450 would be good. So it's kind of sucks that we do have that bottom there, but hey, I'm talking about it. That's a trade that I made. So I'm going to have to wait to see if Sky Q come back into the downside and get us a little bit there. And then we missed that bottom in SpaceX by 5 cents. We were rating out by, we were rating at 120.21 And there's a move right back upside again into 120, 150. So watching out for SpaceX. All right, we got to go back over to Darish. She's got some stories.
There's people in the chat asking what happened to Bloom Energy. I just kind of saw Carol's come through here. So basically, it sounds like what happened was regulators in New Mexico have now rejected for a second time a permit here for Bloom Energy for a gas pipeline, which is planned to help support Oracle's Project Jupiter data center. Now, apparently, this decision to get second rejection out could delay this campus. The campus is actually expected to use up to 2.5 gigawatts of Bloom Energy's gas powered fuel cells. So, BE to the downside on this, I took a look at Oracle, which is also to the downside of this, guys. ORCL could break 120 today. Back to you.
It definitely could make 120. All these names getting hit.
I don't even know if it is a flat bottom break on Oracle, but let's just assume it.
It already flat bottom broke, Neil.
Okay, then.
Dying.
Okay, thanks, Adara. So, oh my goodness. Oh yeah, yeah. It's over. It's over. Remember, like, anyways, if you know Vince, you know. It's over. sorry, Oracle, but that done happened already a long time ago. But you know what? Forget about looking at things that stink. As the market's going lower, Jinx, Marvell was just breaking the high 2 seconds ago. Of course, now that we pull it up, watch that turn into a topping tail candle or reversal. But some relative strength happening over here in Marvell. We're kind of doing this on the run. Just gonna double check. Yeah, ARM is still going down. AMD was still going down. It looks like Marvell, Nvidia's at the low of the day, still trending to the downside. So for whatever reason, it does seem like Marvell might be the chip name that's giving you the most juice. And I've seen zero reason yet to try a second shot in DRAM. We played it, kind of break out this high, giving it a view up, but it's still very much trend down. Got to break trend or get to 52. The level I like is 52. You better do a convincing trend break or hold the VWAP. It's still bleeding. It's at downside here. Chris asking why Apple is blasting lower. I think the better question, so far this morning, a lot of things reverse. It'd be like, what's the reason it's going higher? And my question would be like, why is Marvell higher right now? As opposed to questioning why it's going low. Everything did a U-turn.
Yeah, everything's going lower here. And we flip it over into a new position right now with our NASDAQ shorts. They're coming over there at 80. Just got a bump up. Really looking for a bump up to the 69.20. Again, once I saw that sort of hit right into there again, 25 period moving average. So we try to watch out for that one. Potential come in here on TQ. So, just taking some bids here near the lows, looking to average this in. So we don't have a full position yet. Let's see if we can make something happen here with the TQs. And it's too bad because we were short early, got stopped out. It's fine. You always got to have these out. So I'm trying to give this all the way to 69.60. So I'm trying to get this just quick, like half a unit. I'm going to get a little bit more. I'm sitting right now, just to give you guys an idea, 69.15. So basically this top again. If it does bump up into that, we definitely want to be able to put some strength onto this play. So, just looking for a little bit of a bump up, right? And then a whoosh down again. We saw the SPY was at not a horrible level. And I've started to stop because this move is coming back in. We actually do have quite a nice trade now on SpaceX, which is, I'm going to take this bid right here and cancel my 20s. We'll take a 40 there if we can get that on SpaceX. We'll bid Neil's favorite number right here at 42. So we join the line. There we go. I think we just got it. Yeah, we did. So for some reason, we got a 42 there. So we just get that 42. And now we wait to see what winds up happening with SpaceX breaking below 120. That's the next call there. TQs maybe not moving around as much. And then, what I want to talk about was my other position. That, of course, is IBIT. You can see right here from IBIT, it's going lower, man. And so we wrote down 36.25. So now the fact that we have one unit only, we're going to put on 2 more or so down at that level. And then we just wait for IBIT and see if it bounces off of 36.25. It's got to be specific with it now. We like that level because it was coming right into some of this. So let's just wait for it, into that close there on Friday. Although the close is right around here, we did dip down in. So we're going to wait for in and around this level, 36.20, in order to stop out at some point here on IBIT. So 36.25, we'll take a bid. 36.10 is our stop, right into that level there. We break back down below Friday's sort of hold in the afternoon. We're going to get out of IBIT. So until then, we stay true and strong with that long now. And the NASDAQ, I just did 66s. Did we get that? Yes, we did. So again, that's going to be a pretty good trade there. We take about 25 cents or so on that most recent fill right there. as we went back into the short, trying to believe in that position one more time there. So here it comes back in. Let the Nasdaq bleed down, man. I mean, this could go zeros today for sure. We've taken out some pre-market levels, but now we're pushing a lot lower here in the Nasdaq. They got break levels, so this is why we're short. Let's see if we can make some money back on the TQQs here today, which we're doing, by the way. So far so good there. And Apple's bleeding because it already had its move higher. So today you've had a lot of traders make a lot of money on Apple. And so just like I said on Friday, it's the same answer again. There's traders that are coming in and saying, I'm going to take some of this money out of Apple because we're long down here, 280, 290, 300, whatever. And it's been a nice 10, 20, 30% move higher, depending on where you're in. And I'm going to take some profit and potentially run it into, some other names. Now, these names can't fail. And if they do, then that's what leads to this market downside, because now everybody that ran to buy Micron and SpaceX and SK Hynix and all these depressed names, Marvell, AMD, whatever, at some point, if those bids start losing, then yeah, you're going to be in a problem. And that's why you see the Nasdaq sell off. So I do expect Apple, on more weakness in this market, for Apple to actually catch a bid somewhere. I think people will come back to safety here with AAPL. But wow, man.
Especially after earnings, I think.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing.
I feel like Google earnings.
We're running into the all-time low right now of SpaceX. Just got made again. We would have got filled, by the way, at our 120.20, but we took 42s instead. Now new low is 120.10. Nasdaq falling, hopefully a little more than this. We need to go a little more. And then here we go, man. We do have our final and last reload here. By the way, SK Hynix is almost at that 154, which we didn't think would happen today. SK Hynix low 155. But there's our IBIT. Finally, we get a trade. And look, this is the one that we had to be patient with. We went short. Here we go. This is today's trade ideas. 123 long SpaceX. We took it. Once it failed, we went short. You can see that's how about 51. IBIT down there at 36.25. I liked it. That's what we waited for. We got it. SK Hynix 154. That's the next one. And will we get to 68 long on TQQs? We're short 69 right now. Let's see what ends up happening. After this note, we're going to go back to Neil, but we got a Dara for now at the desk.
And small cap time, everybody. There are a lot of small caps to look at here. Is SKYQ, Sky Quarry, this came to the upside. Couldn't find any news on this, but this is an oil refinery related play, so possibly benefiting here, or at least reacting to dollar market cap, 85 million share float, 17.5% short float. ABBB here on watch as well. Advanced Biomed, this one did have here on watch as well. Advanced Biomed, this one did have a catalyst as well. The window on this unfortunately dropped, but yeah, it looks like apparently there was a $25 million equity purchase agreement that was dropped here or terminated. So that's the look here for ATPB. Got a $12.5 million market cap. Neil was saying he saw 1 million share float. I'm seeing a 560,000 share float. So either way, very small float here for BB. No short floats. AMC, last but not least, AMC Entertainment with a strong earnings report here for Q2 2026. Apparently, it's best ever revenue and adjusted EBITDA for a quarter. I also want to mention your guys' market cap on this is going to be a little bit larger, $1.9 billion, but about a 6% short float rate. Back to you.
Only 6% shortfall rate. That's actually
Probably higher.
yeah, like that's probably smaller than I thought. I thought it was like 8 or 9. Lucid, putting into the chat there that Lucid looked like it was making a bit of the top and broke this. This was an actual flat bottom break. The opening candle support, and then another one here at 954. So once it broke short, giving it to about that, just about that long weighted average price and a Friday high. Remember, there was that threatening. There was that story alluding to them possibly seeking bankruptcy or strategic alternatives, and it hasn't been squeezing ever since. But a bit of a double top, and then went to the flat bottom break on the way back at the 7 level. Alibaba, do your thing if you can. I still am looking for the breakout on Alibaba. When the market made lows, it did not break the lows, and it's still holding on to a lot of strength, relatively speaking. So it's going to get back above VWAP. It's a bit of a trend break right here. You can always nibble and give it to VWAP. I don't want to take a 19 break and leave it till then. So if it closes above VWAP, finally, I'll take a shot there and give it to a 118.5. Bars is saying hood is almost ready. Well, it's in the oven and it's baking. It held 99. There's a consolidation. The break of the $0.50 hasn't happened yet on Robinhood. So all it has to do is nudge above the 100.5 level, and then we get our entry into Robinhood. This is required either you have it long right at 99 or you're looking for it to bust you up. The gap is $2 to the pre-market high. There's a lot of room to go. But see what happens? Every single time it gets up here, I'll zoom back in. Every time it gets up here above $100, finds the top and then it fades back in. So I want it breaking out that 100 and a half. And then it gets a little bit spicier. Shout out to Olson in the chat with the $ MRVL.
Boom.
I still don't know why, but we're pointing out this one for some relative strength this morning. I don't want to speculate. Obviously 198, there's leap speculation out of it. 198 and still going higher. This is definitely one of the bigger pullbacks that you would see from the highs. So remember, percentage gains are a little bit skewed here. 5% is almost nothing off of the lows for Marvel. The same way as it's almost nothing off the lows for like an ARM or any of those. Got to keep that a little bit of the perspective. Here comes Robinhood through the top. We're going to go to Adara at the desk again.
Hey guys, just be aware here, MSFT on watch. This Kimmy here from Moonshot, this model is apparently now being tested, at least according to a report with the information, by Microsoft. Support first came out about 10 minutes ago, seeing it circulate again more now. But basically, MSFT reportedly planning on testing the Kimmy K3 model for Copilot as they're adding the open weight model to Azure. Apparently, engineers over at Microsoft could be evaluating whether K3 is able to power features that currently use OpenAI and Anthropic models. So once again here, MSFT trying to move away from its OpenAI reliance, apparently moving towards Kimmy K3 instead.
I think that's bound to happen. And more and more companies are going to have a look over there and talk about the cost of some of these models just becoming outsized there. But of course, if they do that, they're just kind of hurting their own business there because they're looking at OpenAI to be expensive. With that kind of investment coming through. Man, oh man, that was a face smash rate on Ibit. We're going to pat ourselves on the back for this one as well, because that was 36.25, literally on the nose there. We put out the low of the day pretty much on our stick. Well, we did on the sticky note right there, and there it goes straight upside. Love for our good friend, of course, today, Ibit on the down or on the downswing. We picked it up. Now you're back up to even where we averaged it in, but we put on so many more. I mean, I talked about we had about 1 unit there, we put on about 2.5. So now we bump up, and that's why our average price is what it is. And here we go, man. Nice move down in now. If we could take advantage of this TQQ move, that would be good. But we just did get an average in on this price, and we talked about wanting to sort of buy some of this, sell some of this strength. So, as we do that, let's buy some back as we come back into the 25 period moving average or average price now. We're just short here at 12. It's not like it's a crazy price. I mean, we could get stopped out. We're still waiting for 69.60 all the way up to view up. How's this market, as Neil just said with Marvell? Have we potentially caught a wee bit of a bid now? So what, Marvell just popped to new highs, I just heard?
You just said it again.
Okay, yeah. So there it goes again. So as Neil mentioned, there is some get up in some of these names. And we looked at AMD earlier. Interesting story there about Microsoft, obviously. They had a new story. They have a couple stories this AM, and one of them is buying some more AMD chips. And there it goes, the upside for AMD. And maybe they're testing Kimmy on that model right now. But Microsoft, I like this name, man. I talked about it on Friday. We added it to our portfolio challenge. So far, so good. Upside right now, just flat on the day though. But yeah, trying to hold some of those bids. And the real winner, I think, in all of this today, if you're looking at maybe big move higher. We didn't look at Meta yet though. What is Meta?
We did.
Did we? Okay.
Remember, because we saw that fake candle to 60.
Oh yeah. Earlier on, yeah. So yeah, Meta down today 1%. 1% against the market. The market's now up 1%, and Meta down 0.6. So all right, man. That Q short that was cruising for us for a minute. That I thought we were going to break lower, and no, the market says, we're going the other way right now against you. So looks like we'll take a little bit of profit out there. We're still holding pretty much the bag here on the TQ. So not that we need to do this, but we're still waiting for view up. I thought it was going to be a little bit negative, but as this market swings back and forth, you can move around stocks pretty easily, it seems like these days. SpaceX back to 122, and we'll talk about that when we have some good outs on that. But 69.50 coming up real soon here. Just making sure where our stop is. Again, on the TQs, break of 60 right here. We want to make sure that level, 67, it looks like, for the TQQs would be it. Yeah, Marvell right back to today's high again. So I'm not really sure what's going on there, but take a little bit more on the cues, and then we got to watch out for that 70 break higher.
Yeah, well, not to be completely outdone, there are some other names that are trying to go here. Broadcom just got above VWAP, and that's looking 2.5%. That's pretty good into the upside. Robinhood was just cruising to 101 a split second ago, so it did. Like, it finally broke out that $0.50. Buyers came in, it went right to first resistance in front of 101, and it's pulling back. So we'll hold the VWAP and then give it to 100 is going to be the name of the game. Lucid is right at where we got in, so Lucid's not really doing much. But back into VWAP comes SLV. So trend down, I can do this, which I draw, boom. There's the pre-market, there's the opening range high. So I have to give it to above the long weighted average price. So moving the stock down, going to give it to a 50-50 and then re-enter this trade or reload this trade at the volume weighted average price here on SL. Again, stop, moved on this bad boy, and then we can move on to the next. This is one that we sort of found at the end. It just happened to break trend at the moment. The future for lack of a better word, giving it up. And then this just broke the trend line and lost the volume weighted average price. So we just want to take it to fill. I think continuation short until proven otherwise, right? You're making lower highs. When I look at the structure of the overall market too, the NASDAQ anyways, people get on. So don't talk about the NASDAQ like it's the market. That's more than yes. Okay, that's good. Falls break of the high, and then more lower highs, and then into V1. So that's why we're looking for that reload in something like SLV, which when I see that tank down, going to get some bids into the LOD and see if we can get another one headed lower, lower, and more lower.
More lower.
Well, I hate to say it, but
So
the dip buys just don't feel, not yet. They don't yet feel like we're blown out of the water. Like, what are the things that were weak that are above VWAP and holding? Like Robinhood, yes, but I'm not seeing like anything that's going to hold the market up that's done that. You know, the strong names like, you know, Google's already done its work. Like, what's throwing the party? Maybe Amazon can be something. Like Amazon, Meta, those would need to bring you back up here. They're both just sort of teetering at VWAP, trying to make that next lens. At least for now, like, you go to anything that's relatively. And remember, everybody, when you're typing symbols in the chat, what I want you to do is make sure you use that dollars, right? $sign and then whatever it is. So $sign Oracle, VJK. I see you in there. Not to call anybody out. I'm just saying. We got IREN. I know these are interesting names. IREN, AMC, SpaceX, Intel. First of all, I do it all the time. And rightfully so. I've said this before. And then people call the idea of, Neil, you just typed in the symbol and you didn't. It just allows to visualize, and you can see sometimes behind this as well, to let us know what the interesting names are. We're going to be in what we see as interesting with our whole board, our launch list. What we see as high volume leaders 100%, but it's always good to see what you guys like. ZYBT, fifth on the list. I haven't looked at it. I don't know what that is. I'm going to assume it's a small cap gapper that everyone's involved. Maybe ZYBT.
yeah, it's halted a couple times. Just quickly before we're now 70 cents in the money on SpaceX, so we take that 122.50. Now just trying to watch out to see where it floats on from here right now. So yeah, good little level. You know, obviously coming in here for our good friend SpaceX, we take advantage of it. Now we'll wait to see where it goes from here. Just took a couple bids, now 70 cents in the money there. We did take an opportunity to get more short in the NASDAQ, as you know, we were just talking about where we get stopped out. So now that it's made this move back in, we can now focus a little bit more here on what we're trying to do with the NASDAQ and bringing it on down now for that. And then IBIT, man, that was just a big one. That was a good out there. We, you know, profitable stock today. Not too many profitable stocks on the board, but we're trying to pick and choose. We're not going too far away from our volume and everything like that, and not using a lot of shares, not getting frustrated with anything here today. But SpaceX goes right back into the money now as that name's starting to climb a little bit higher. So we definitely like to higher on the P&L wise here at SpaceX. Yeah, right back into 121. Let's go SPCX as that's fallen right back in. So, hey man, let's take advantage of that. Punch them out more at 139. That's $1 right there off the reload, but still trying to do some damage on the futures there as we go back to the futures. And of course, this is the TQs. So the triple levered NASDAQ there. So as it bleeds into 69, we take some more fills there. Let's hopefully have it move lower. We're still going to wait to get stopped out above this level. And if it happens, it happens. And it's like that. I don't mind taking. So we're going to try that right here on the T triple Qs, and hopefully we get another leg lower. But yeah, we're short SpaceX, we're short the Qs, and we're long over here on IBIT. So that's kind of what I'm working with there today. Not much is hitting the scanner. There's that Goro again. This was a name that was delisted, but then
Yeah, that should be gone.
no, I think what they did was reverse split, I guess. There to the upside. So $1 back to 360, and this one now okay. I thought it was the me too. Like when I saw that name, I didn't see much. LBGJ, this was a name from last week, so this has been a halter a little bit there today. I've traded the small cap name here, SkyQ, got taken out right at the bottom of that trade. So in early on the first halt, I just laughed because it was pretty good. We didn't have a whole bunch of shares, but it was looking like it was cruising through $5 in stock. And now this name not really looking like it wants to halt too much. But it's ZYBT. This is the big one, right? This is 65 million shares. So this is what I thought SkyQ would maybe start to do. But ZYBT right now, trying to look at $2. So that could be a good stop and go zone there, $2 or so. But here we go. Right back in again. I'm going to take another bid here. Why not at 5s and 6s here? This is a big trade for me now on the NASDAQ. So hopefully if it breaks, there's another fill at 25 period moving average. Was hoping for a bigger trade. Now we shouldn't jinx it. Let's see if it does get back down in. I'm bidding 69 flat. And also SpaceX right now. Last time we were there, it was 85 cents the money. $1.20. Let's bid another bid here at 121. And now let's see if we get back into the lows of SpaceX, about $120 so far there. Hey man, it's going to be a green day. If I got out right now, we'd basically be flat on the day, despite going back and forth with a bunch of these names. But it's SpaceX right now, turning green for the P&L here so far today. SpaceX downside. Let's see if we can get a bigger move. And like this stop out, honestly, was 123 break. So definitely now off the reload, it's looking like a little bit of a better trade here. But that's SpaceX for you. Oh, SK Hynix, we were looking at a 154 on that name. What happened, man? Yeah, 155 low. So we missed out by $1. But that was a good level there for anybody that looked at it now at $2. But yeah, not much going on here. I don't think really for SK Hynix today, other than downside. Like that would have been short-lived. That's 10 minutes, but then it makes new lows. So I think right here, this might be a decent level. The first time we tested our 50-period moving average. But oh boy, man, we're doing some damage here on SpaceX, IBIT, and
for Gamecraft Nico, you're asking for the tap on VAIYA. That is $8.70. So this one, underswap average, ultimately upside. 868. It's moving around a little bit here, but suffice to say, it's looking like it wants to open a little bit higher, not terribly, a little bit higher. Mike P. the Rider. I know, Sean. It's I feel like it was in high school.
yeah, it
But
was like 10, 15 years ago.
we're on the same basketball called midget boys basketball.
So that would have been grade 10.
That's great. That was in grade 10. Yeah, that was in grade 10. Just very quickly, there's the wick out under VWAP for Robin. Robinhood's one of the longs I like today, so it gets back above VWAP on the right back into the hooded one. They're going to give it back to that 100 level again. Wick did it, got to like 99, 98. I'm going to give it to just underneath that and a little bit more room. We're going right back up to the desk with Adara. Cool.
I would say this board isn't as aggressive as the board we've seen in recent weeks, either to the upside or the downside. But a lot of sectors that are kind of just lightly green or lightly red here. Let's get into it. Health tech, a little bit red here. Same with consumer durables, consumer services, produce industries, commercial services, distribution, non-energy minerals, and finance. And you've got the sectors that are a little bit strong here, like retail trade. Mostly you're led by Amazon. Energy minerals here quite strong. We know oil back in focus here. Tensions between the U.S. and Iran are eating back up. Industrial services doing quite well. And producer manufacturing is in response to strength here. Now let's get into the tech sectors where I think things get pretty interesting. Electronic tech, you've got NVIDIA, Broadcom, Micron, AMD, Intel, Seagate, SanDisk, all to the upside. So it's struggling last week, kind of recovery stage. And you've got Apple, GE, and Dell to the downside. Tech services, pretty much all right except for Google. The OGL to the upside, in case you guys missed it, the information reported with Bell that Google is going to be introducing this new frozen V2 chip, which is currently a server chip that will allow for greater efficiency when used with its Gemini models. That being said, everything in the sector looks rough. Adobe here, that's down nearly 4%. Netflix down 2% earnings day two. You've got Oracle down 3.5%. Currently more issues for that project. Jupiter Data Center and some more delays with that data center in mind. You go to center to the downside. So if you're not Google or Datadog or AppLovin, probably not doing too hot here in Texas. Back to you.
Yeah, Datadog was a recent buy there by investors. Good look on that one. SpaceX made a move back upside, so that was some good covers down there at 121. The low it got was 120. I know I'm talking about the same name. That is what it is. IBIT trying to make a move back up. We're still waiting for that one. And then the TQ is doing its own thing. Uber. Okay, Uber. Yeah, so Uber just coming up right now because it is trying to make a little bit of a run to the high side right now. It's still a POS in my opinion, but right back into those levels right now for Uber, 72 and change. We'll wait to see what's going on. I mean, I hope this thing gets going. I'm long it, but it's not like this has been, if you this is just a joke that we always say, but if you scan that barcode, you get $5 off your next ride. But it's not doing anything right now, Uber. So I think there's much better spots to look at there than UBER. So watch out for Uber and potentially where that name wants to go from here. Yeah, just waiting for the TQs to do something. You guys want to talk about IonQ, Tesla, BE? Yeah, that story on BE, I mean, that's downside, right? Wasn't Bloom Energy a $300 and some stock not too long ago? Wow. Talk about a name. And this is the thing. Like, you guys can ask Sharif on the midday. I have no idea where he's in or where he's out or anything like that. But I know this was a name that he had taken. I think it was through this break. I'm pretty sure he's long in the $100 area somewhere there. But when you get a triple, a 3.5x type of trade, look what happens to Bloom Energy not even that long ago. Like, this name just got absolutely crushed down to the downside right now, down another 7%. And this is at big time risk of falling right into this 200 period moving average. And here we go, man. This is finally a story where I think the short sellers might have got it right. Like, they brought that story about China and overexposure there into China and how they said that there was none of their sales were relying on China. And then someone said, well, what about this? And then boom to the downside. So I don't think there's been much of a defense there. I do know the CEO did come out and said blah, blah, blah. And then.
Well, sorry, I was going to say that there as well, Sean. Their defense still didn't really address the main thing. They just said, oh, well, it's not huge part of our time to take, but they didn't deny the fact that there is an aspect because they previously said there was no part. So that really is my issue. I think the way they did the denial leaves a lot of room for interpretation.
Yeah, and I think that's what I was.
Wasn't direct enough.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Like, it's not, really defendable if it's true. So, you got to just be careful with, wow, there it is, man. We are now, boom, put it upside down. Positive now, P&L on the day, because there goes the TQQs. And the reason why sometimes it takes me a little longer to get positive is because the first couple trades, I put on much bigger shares than I do near the end. So I need to change that up, which is why I'm saying this needs to be less and this needs to be more. So now that we're finally printing to the downside right here, it's going to be a decent morning, not a big one here, but hey, green is green